Hello again, I am Xarkun, and this is World of Warships Legends. Welcome back. Today, I've got a game for you on the map Estuary in the Premium Tier 7 American battleship USS Alabama. I am in a division joined by Bun 143 in the Premium Tier 7 German battleship Tirpitz. And interesting thing about both of these ships, they are both available for ostensibly free purchase if you have and are willing to spend 750,000 points of global XP. Now, a lot of people already have the Tirpitz because they got it in the Tirpitz campaign that happened some months ago now. But a lot of people don't, and if you didn't buy the Alabama for 750,000 global XP, then you don't have that either. And by the way, this battle is going to offer quite a bit of foolishness. Our first example of that here is the two broadside Iowas just sitting out there thinking, oh, there's a Tirpitz and an Alabama. Well, we know how best to deal with those two ships. We're gonna give them our flat broadside. And the Tirpitz, not the most accurate ship in the game. Even so, it gets a nice penetration and possibly a citadel on that broadside Iowa. And I've got even more shots heading for that Iowa, who has kicked it into reverse. It's not enough to save him, though, from taking another citadel, and already up to 29,000 damage, so not bad. There's going to be a fair bit of seal-like activity from the enemy team in this game, and that's pretty much why I chose this game to make a video out of. I did receive a comment on one of my previous videos, or maybe it was a live stream, can't remember who said it either, but whoever you are, you wanted an Alabama video, and here I am obliging you. And oh, what an enemy team we have here. Now we've got a Bismarck approaching, giving almost a flat broadside. You see, maybe you can't see right now, but off to my starboard side here, we've got a friendly Moss hiding in between some islands here, waiting to intercept this Bismarck, and we're going to see how he does as the Bismarck draws closer. Bun and I are both firing on the Bismarck, and I do score a nice armor-piercing salvo there, almost 20,000 damage. No citadel, but, you know, with that kind of damage, you can't really complain, can you? Well, I mean, I suppose you could complain, but why would you? Anyway, after we see what this Moss here is going to do, which is honestly rather spectacular, I'll talk a little bit about the comparisons between the Bismarck, or I'm sorry, not the Bismarck, the Tirpitz and the Alabama, in case any of you are trying to decide which one to purchase with 750,000 global XP and want to hear my opinion on it. Anyway, this Bismarck is approaching the gap in between the islands where our Moss is waiting to spring a trap, and the Moss jumps out to spring the trap. He fires his salvo of torpedoes. All of them except one hit that island, and the last one is heading towards the Bismarck. It's gonna bop him right there in the side for a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, Bun launched a salvo of torpedoes, and two of hers have managed, no, look, never mind, one of hers managed to make it through the gap in the island, and I do believe it did hit the Bismarck. We've got that second Iowa who is broadside approaching too, so Bun is gonna go engage that Iowa and show him what the Tirpitz can do. Meanwhile, Bismarck is reversing. Got the rear guns loaded. They have fired. The Bismarck is taken out. The Moss thanks me for my services, and of course you're welcome there, little buddy. Looks like you probably really needed them. Anyway, Alabama versus Tirpitz. Both premium Tier 7 battleships, both available for 750,000 points of global XP, which, by the way, it does take a long time to grind, so which one do you buy? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about both. Bun here in the Tirpitz is demonstrating how nice of a brawler the Tirpitz is. Tirpitz has very strong side armor. It's got 380mm guns, and it also comes with one launcher of 4 torpedo tubes on each side of the ship. The torpedoes have a range of 6 kilometers, and they are quite effective when you get up close and personal with battleships, as you can see there. Bun's salvo did make contact with that Iowa and shaved off a large amount of health. That Iowa is going to be sinking to the bottom of the sea soon, and Bun is going to come out on top of that engagement. So the Tirpitz is a rather unique ship with its torpedoes, and that gives it a rather unique playstyle. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and buy the Tirpitz, I would say. There's not many ships like it in the game. There's the Gneisenau, of course, which also comes with torpedoes, but only has 6 380mm guns compared to the Tirpitz's 8. And of course there is the Scharnhorst, which is a premium ship that you buy for real money, and that has 9 283mm guns, not even close to the same caliber as the Tirpitz, but also comes armed with torpedoes. So if you are interested in the German-type battleships that are meant to be sort of brawly battleships and come equipped with torpedoes, Tirpitz is the way to go. Alabama is not at all really a brawler. It is more of your traditional battleship. It's got 406mm guns. Actually, they're the same exact guns as those found on the Tier 7 Tech Tree United States battleship Iowa. So they do a fair bit of damage, as you see there, with the 2 citadels that they scored on the Algerie out there. So Alabama is more of your traditional battleship. It is a bit like the Iowa, although it has fewer hit points. It's not perhaps quite as robust in the armor department as the Iowa is. It seems to get penned a little bit easier, but it is also much more maneuverable than the Iowa, with a 700-meter turning circle compared to the Iowa's colossal 900-meter turning circle, and it's got a pretty short rudder shift time, which makes it feel very, very maneuverable. So it is a traditional type battleship, but it's not like the American dreadnought style battleships that, the Wyoming through the Colorado, that are big, slow, lumbering beasts. It's not at all like that. It's fairly quick for a battleship and fairly maneuverable, especially compared to the Tier 7 Iowa. And personally, if I were going to pick between the Tirpitz and the Alabama, of course, full disclosure, it wasn't really a choice for me because I unlocked the Tirpitz in the campaign, so I already had that, and therefore the Alabama was the only premium battleship available for 750,000 points of global XP, so no choice really for me. I, of course, bought the Alabama, but I think if I did not have the Tirpitz, I would probably go for the Alabama. The bigger guns are wonderful. They are a lot more accurate than the Tirpitz, let's just say. The Tirpitz does suffer from the typical German non-accuracy, although you can buff it and make it acceptable with either Hipper or Hyde if you have him, but I like accurate battleships, and the Alabama with Sims and of course the fire control mod is quite accurate. It's got second biggest guns in the game behind the Amagi. Well, okay, third biggest guns in the game behind the Yamato and Amagi. and it's just a very, very powerful ship. It's very maneuverable, pretty quick, and it smacks pretty hard. So if I were gonna go for one, I would go for the Alabama. Also, I think it's probably a little bit easier to play than the Tirpitz. And that's my opinion on it for what it's worth. Hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Got a lot of World of Warships Legends content coming all the time. Thank you very much for watching and subscribing. I appreciate your support. See you next time. Goodbye.